Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Duke and Dutch show. Obviously, Duke is not with me. He has actual adult responsibilities to do, where I just kind of fuck around a little bit more. But I wanted to cover this story, and I didn't want to wait till tomorrow. This is a very serious incident, a very big tragedy that happened at 345 Park Avenue in New York on floor 33 and a little bit before that. Apparently, this person, Shane Tamura, was targeting NFL headquarters. And they were suffering possibly from CTE, which I do not accept as an excuse for driving all the way from Nevada to New York to gun down people because you didn't get drafted into the NFL. I didn't get drafted in the NFL either, buddy. And I do feel stupid for that. I actually do. I should have been the kicker. I could have been the kicker. It doesn't matter my size. I could have done it even at my frame and my size, but that's not really the point here. The thing is that this person apparently, and maybe it was affected with CTE, and CTE does affect a lot of combat sports. It could be MMA or it could be football. Anything you're gonna get hit hard in the head. Maybe even baseball would do it if you take too many baseballs to the head. I don't know exactly. But this lunatic, this cynical person, decided to go to NFL headquarters, or it seems, I'm assuming this, went to NFL headquarters and wanted to, I guess, negotiate a contract, or either was so pissed off they wanted to end the people in the building because they didn't get a contract. But this is the person right here. This is Shane Tamura. Obviously, the media, CNN, very early to say he was white, but he was not. This is from Nick Sorter, good guy Nick Sorter. Started following him with the Lahaina Maui fires, but
between 51st and 52nd Streets, carrying an M4 rifle in his right hand, he walks towards the building's entrance. That individual was seen exiting the BMW alone. The building security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn.
And evidently, this guy drove all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada to New York for the particular purpose of, I guess, putting a gun in somebody's face and demanding an NFL contract, if that would ever work. And he killed a police officer and a lot of innocent people in the process. Which is, listen. I'll get real with you, Riho. Just for a second, because I know you don't care about me, you care about the story, but it's like, I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to feel like you're alone. But I've never in my life felt like I was ever going to harm another person, because I just think that's insane, personally. But unfortunately, this gentleman right here, I don't even want to call him a gentleman. This scum right here didn't feel the same way.
Right, and immediately opened fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. He makes his way to the elevator bank, where he shoots a security guard who was taking cover behind the security desk. One additional male is shot in the lobby, per his own statement from the hospital. The shooter then calls the elevator, which opens in the lobby. A female exits that elevator, and he allows her to walk past him unharmed. He goes up to the 33rd floor, which is route and management, and begins to walk the floor, firing rounds as he traveled. One person was struck.
All I want to say about this before we get too far, everybody is somebody's son, daughter, mother, father, aunt, uncle, friend. And I want to be very clear, even though I'm not going to condone it. But I understand, how you can be unhappy. And I really do understand the depths that you can actually go into a person's psyche, into the darkness. But as far as I ever went, and maybe some people say, oh, you didn't go far enough. I never thought about hurting anybody else. And you shouldn't think about hurting yourself either. Listen, there's always, the world can always be a little brighter. And it probably is with you in it.
Fucking killed on that floor. He then proceeds down a hallway and shoots himself in the chest. In total, we have 5 victims shot, our officer and 4 other innocent civilians, plus the shooter. The shooter is believed to be Shane Tamora, a 27-year-old male with a Las Vegas address. The vehicle he exited is registered in Nevada to Mr. Tamora. Inside of that vehicle, officers found a rifle case with rounds, a loaded revolver, ammunition, and magazines, a backpack, and medication prescribed to Mr. Tamora. The vehicle was searched by our bomb squad and found to be clear of any explosives.
And they're going to blame this on, when this comes out in the mainstream media because of who Mr. Shane Tamora is, they're going to blame this on CTE. I want to come out here and say, listen, I've never been in contact sports, but I don't think CTE is an excuse. I really don't. I'm not going to buy the excuses. I don't care what you did. You're not allowed to go out and harm other people who are just trying to live their lives, who are trying to walk down the street, who are trying to do their jobs. No, none of that.
The initial investigation shows that Mr. Tamora's vehicle traveled cross-country through Colorado on July 26th, then Nebraska and Iowa on July 27th, and then in Columbia, New Jersey as recently as 4:24 p.m. today. The vehicle entered New York City shortly thereafter. According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamora has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why.
Well, from what I understand, this, I don't even know what I should call him. I don't want to call him a person, because I think you lose your citizen status, you lose your person status, a homo sapien status, I guess, when you do something like this. So I'm not going to call him a person. That'll be controversial, I know. Ooh. But I'm not going to call him a person, because I don't believe that anybody who commits any mass shooting, anybody who takes somebody else's life knowingly, is a person. I think they lose that status. That's my personal opinion. I know that'll be controversial. I know that'll be shouted out and be like, ooh, look at this guy. But no, that's what I believe. I personally believe that. So I'm not going to call him a person, because on the basis of the status, he took other people's lives. But there's always help. You can always go get help. And he could have, right now, even at this point right here that you see on the screen, he's walking through NYC with a weapon. He still could have dropped it and gone and get help. Now, maybe CTE, I have never played a combat sport. I've never suffered from that. And I know there have been researches on that that obviously, it affects you hit too hard, it does affect your brain. I'll give them that. That does not give you the right to do anything like this. But I can only get so, I gotta be careful. I can only be so PC before I can, I'll just leave it at that. I can only be so PC. But those are my opinions.
He targeted this particular location. 345 Park Avenue is a commercial office building whose tenants include the NFL, Rudin Management, KPMG, and Blackstone. At this time, 4 of the 5 victims are deceased, including our NYPD cop. Our officer was transported here to New York Presbyterian along with one male civilian, the lone shooting survivor, who was in critical but stable condition at this time. 2 other civilians, one male and one female, both deceased, were brought to Bellevue. The 4th civilian is a female who was found dead on the 33rd floor of the location. Additionally, there are 4 other victims being treated for minor injuries sustained in their attempts to flee the scene.
I just want to point, this is horrible. Like every mass shooting we have in this country, and for everybody who says, sometimes I think, especially in America, that the more guns we have, the better, because you could stop this, but there's always going to be a cluster of people who can't defend themselves from, obviously ballistic rifles, and it's just like, I always go back and forth. I really do. I fluctuate on it, and I'm like, I don't know what's best. I do like the Second Amendment, but would this have stopped this guy from getting a weapon? We'll have to see. I don't have that information yet.
Victims' names are being withheld at this time, pending family notification. Officers from our Special Operations Division are currently conducting a secondary sweep of the entire building. I want to be very clear. We believe this to be a lone shooter, and there is no longer an active threat to the public. But today, 4 innocent victims are dead. Among them is NYPD police officer Didarul Islam, 36 years old, 4 years on the job. Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys. His wife
I'll let her
pregnant with their
continue.
3rd child.
Yeah, 3 kids.
He's assigned to the 4-7 precinct in the Bronx. He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice, shot in cold blood, wearing a uniform that stood for the promise that he made to this city.
That's terrible. 2 kids, a third on the way. NYC gunman was targeting NFL headquarters, Mayor Adams says. Gunman who fatally shot 4 people inside a Midtown Manhattan office building was targeting NFL offices inside, but took the wrong elevator bank. New York City Mayor Adams said Tuesday morning. Investigators found a note from the deceased gunman, Shane Tamura, in which he wrote about the brain trauma CTE, which is it's a very real issue in people who are up in physical combat sports like football, MMA. You're gonna get hit in the head, you're gonna get concussions and all that stuff. Which I'm sure does affect your life in negative ways. I can't really comment on that. I do not personally know. But at this point, I don't really give a shit. Because it doesn't excuse this type of behavior. I'm very sympathetic to pretty much everybody in this world. Until it comes in conflict with somebody else. And then I just don't care that much. That's just kind of how I am. Which is associated with head injuries in football. Adams said Tamura was a high school football player, but never played in college or the NFL. He did have a note on him. The note alluded to that he felt he had CTE, a known brain injury for those who participate in contact sports. He appeared to have blamed the NFL for his injury, the mayor said on CBS Mornings. He also said a preliminary investigation shows that once Tamura entered the building Monday evening, he took the wrong elevator bank up to the NFL headquarters. Instead, it took him to Rudin Management, and that is where he carried out additional shootings and took the lives of additional employees. Terrible. So, and this is the aftermath. Police officer among 4 dead in shooting at New York City building. Gunman wielding an assault rifle has stormed a skyscraper in the heart of New York, killing 4 people before shooting himself dead. The attacker, 27-year-old Shane Tamura of Las Vegas, walked into an office block on Manhattan's Park Avenue on Monday evening and opened fire in the lobby before taking a lift to the 33rd floor. 33rd floor, to continue his spree. 4 people were killed, including New York City police officer Diradel Islam, 36, who was providing security for the building at the time. 3 other victims have yet to be identified. And we've kind of already reviewed all this in a sense. Listen, this is a terrible tragedy. Obviously, this is somebody who is suffering from mental health issues. It's somebody who somehow, even if suffering from mental health issues, could still drive a vehicle halfway across the country from Nevada to New York to go to this specific office and try to carry out, a terrible tragedy, which is going to leave every victim of this, even though I haven't been identified yet, 4 dead. Hopefully there will be no more. But, their fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, grandparents, friends. I don't know. I don't understand this. Even when I was in my darkest place, and I can't speak for everybody because everybody obviously feels differently, but I can't understand being in a dark place and just being like, I want to harm other people. I don't understand that. Maybe it's just I don't have those demons in my head. So maybe I'm lucky for that. But obviously, with this, my heart goes out to everybody who's affected. I hope everybody who was involved in this, even if they weren't, directly injured, they get counseling. If they were directly injured, they get better. For the families to, I don't know how you go on from something like this. I really don't. As a hypochondriac, I think about this a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how I'd go on from this. It's got to be, you got to really have faith in God and faith in your family, and I think you got to be a very, forgiving person, a loving person. try to move on from something like this. The only other thing I really wanted to get into, not to underset the tragedy, but I thought it was interesting. How Aaron Burnett here, who works at CNN, immediately assumed the perpetrator was white. Now, I don't know what the perpetrator is, and really this is like a microcosm of it, but I think I'm just doing this to try to hold CNN a little more accountable. I think, honestly, if you were a major news network, especially if you're in a major news network like CNN, Fox, MSDNC, you should get your facts right before reporting on it.
Showing you here, John's reporting that they do know what he looks like. Male, possibly white, mustache, sunglasses, in that building, isolated to, they believe, male, possibly white, mustache, sunglasses, in that building, isolated to, they believe, to various locations, including upper floors, is where they're focused. What are you learning, Shimon?
So I just think really you should kind of just withhold that type of stuff until you actually have factual evidence. I mean, you could say, yeah, maybe male, I guess, if somebody saw it on the street. But now Aaron Burnett, who I've never even heard of before today, although she is on a major news network, he's getting roasted for that. However, oh yeah, this is a good account. Possibly a journalist. Nah. But I don't think that's the major microcosm of this. I really think it is more, honestly, I'm going to sound pretty liberal here. I think we need to have more people to intervene in mental health crises. But sadly, I think the way our society is built, that a lot of men, or a particular cataclysm of men, I would say, not a cataclysm, but they don't really want to, kind of admit to that. Some people, especially, not everybody wants help, and especially if you're suffering from CTE, you probably do very much need whatever treatment you can get, because that's, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm going to be very clear. Don't listen to me exactly. I just wish the world could be a little bit kinder. I wish everybody could get help. And obviously, I don't think if you're suffering or you have thoughts that are bad that could end your own life, I don't think that should equate to taking anybody else out. I don't think it should equate to taking you out either. I really don't. You should, treat yourself with respect, treat everyone else with respect. The tragedy, I am not going to mourn for Shane Tamora. We'll probably have an update later on, we already talked about the one officer who obviously has 2 kids, a third on the way. And when the other victims, they get released, I wouldn't mind doing a story on them and their lives and their hopes and their dreams, because it's always better to be positive than negative, but I'll leave it at that. Anyway, leave it there. Anyone who misses Duke will be back in the next episode. Like I said, busy right now. I just felt the need to do this, and I wanted to talk about it because this is something that really kind of hit home to me. But we'll catch you in the next one. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and be good to each other, please. That's the most important thing.